Should truck drivers in America be required to speak English? Welcome back to the show. Before we get started today, I'd like to welcome our sponsor who is sponsoring this particular podcast, and it's the angelpillow.com. Some of you have heard me talk about them before, and they're a life changer. They're not like many of the other pillows out there that you've seen and bought. This one actually makes a difference in your life. As I've said, my wife and I both use it. She got it first, convinced me to get it, and I got it. I've had it now for, a month or two, and I love it. It started helping the very first day for both of us, and I can't over-recommend this pillow. Everyone that has bought one that I've talked to loves it. So don't waste any more time in pain. Go to theangelpillow.com. Read if you want a little bit more about the pillow. See the founder, the man that developed the pillow, Dr. Mark Yazak. And then go over and make a purchase. In the discount code, plug in SPICE, S-P-I-C-E, and you'll get a 20% discount on the pillow. You've got to do this because you need to stop waking up in pain. Now to the first topic today on the podcast. It's about the truck drivers that we've been dealing with the last several months in America that can't speak English, write English, communicate in English at all, or very little. As most of you, if not all of you know, I'll just take one horrible accident where a truck driver was driving in Florida, made a totally illegal U-turn in front of a minivan with 3 persons in it, and they died. The 3 persons in the minivan died. The truck driver got out and walked around. No injuries, not a bump on the head, no bruises, nothing. Couldn't speak English. At least he couldn't speak it well. He failed his CDL test 10 times before he passed it. And you want to really hear the big one? The one that you know blew my head up? He's an illegal alien. Imagine that, another illegal alien murdered 3 innocent victims. And this is why we need the illegal aliens out of this country. Now, there I go, digressing onto a different topic. But you know that it makes me so angry that there are people out there that don't want to get illegal aliens out of this country. And here's another prime example of why they should be gone. But back to the subject. Should they speak English? Absolutely. Should everybody in this country speak English? Absolutely. Another podcast subject. There's roughly 200,000 people with CDLs in this country right now that are either illegal aliens, they have a work visa, some kind of a temporary work visa, or I can't read my small print here, or they're foreign workers. So we have the possibility that there could be up to 200,000 truck drivers certified to drive 18-wheelers that can't speak or read the English language. I'm not saying they all are that way, but it's a potential. So what happened? In April of 2025, President Trump signed an executive order and stated he rescinded a 2016 policy of Obama's where Obama had relaxed the enforcement. I really try not to sit here and blast the other side, okay? Again, I'm a libertarian that leans right, but I don't think either side are doing a great job, okay? Let's get that right out there, and I will blast any one of them. Here, unfortunately, I have to blast Obama on another one of his mess-ups. He relaxed the law and allowed them to get licenses without the proper abilities to speak or read or write in English. Since that was 2016, that means all the undocumented, as the PC people want to say, I say all the illegal aliens entered this country during the Biden administration. How many of those are now truck drivers and can't speak English, read English, or write English? I don't know. That's why the executive order was put in place, and that's why it needs to be addressed. These people need to be tested, looked at, and if they can't speak English, they can't write English, then you can't be a truck driver. You need to learn the English language, period. Now, May of 2025, Sean Duffy, Secretary of Transportation, who's had everything dumped on him since he took that job. He signed the guidance for OOS on English proficiency violations, announced that the English-only CDL exams, knowledge, skills, proficiency, and ending multi-language options in states like California, because most of us know that California doesn't care. So Secretary Sean Duffy put that in place. I agree 100%. You don't like it, you don't agree, tell me about it. Tell me how it makes sense to have someone driving this huge truck, an 18-wheeler that could be carrying thousands and thousands of pounds, and who knows, maybe even explosives of some sort, some kind of fuel, batteries, to drive down the road, and they can't even read the darn signs. They get pulled over by a law enforcement officer, and they can't even communicate with the law enforcement officer and answer his questions. No, you need to speak English, you need to read English, and you need to write English. There's been pushes for it, bipartisan bills get you. So again, it's actually both the left and the right working together, thank God. Saying that it needs to be, they need to put this Proficiency Act in place. Make sure that people know the English language that are in this country and they're operating these big, humongous vehicles on the road. Legislative-wise, the bipartisan bills have been pushed through by several of different people. Core requirements of 49 CFR 391.11. Drivers must read and speak the English language sufficiently to converse with the public, understand highway signs and signals, respond to official inquiries, and complete reports and records. Proficiency is assessed via roadside inspections, which means a state trooper or whomever can pull you over. And if you don't have proficiency in the English language, yank them. They don't need to be driving. Reading signs, answering questions. Bottom line is no violations exist. That's the way it should be. Now, reactions have come, some positive, some negative. I feel like it's been mainly positive. I think most people can see the need for people to be able to read road signs. Prior law enforcement, 2016 to 2025, non-English CDLs, Biden-era refugee training, increased foreign-born drivers. That's not only a Biden problem, but that was an Obama problem because he's the one that relaxed everything. Again, I'm not apologizing for attacking the left here, but I'll attack both. If you're wrong, you're wrong. These two presidents were wrong to allow this. Some truckers are in support of this, and other truckers are not. And it's usually not the trucker themselves that's out there on the road talking on the CB radio, trying to get things done, get down the road safely. It's usually the companies, because they want to have as many drivers as they can get, and they want to move product. And some of these companies are saying, well, this could affect up to 3.5 million CDL holders. Well, it affects them because they have to qualify. They have to prove that they're proficient in the English language, but it doesn't affect their job. It might cost the trucking company a little money to do this. And it's unfortunate for them that they have to spend a little extra money because of the bad ones on the government side and in the trucking industry that hire people that cannot speak English. But I don't really have a whole lot of sympathy for them. We need to have safe highways. And those 18-wheelers bulleting down the road are very dangerous trucks. And I can tell you a lot of things about them that I don't have time to tell you about them today. Maybe in another episode. So, industry analysis and how it's working. As I mentioned, mainly the trucking companies, the supporters of the trucking companies, they're complaining. They don't like it. They're saying that some people who have a job could lose a job driving a truck because they're not proficient in English. So, learn the dang language before you start driving the truck. I mean, this is not brain surgery. This is not rocket science. Where's the common sense here? If you don't speak, read, and write in English, you don't have any business driving those big old trucks, period. I don't have any sympathy for you if you lost your job because you can't speak the language. Learn it. I understand it's a challenge. If I move to another country, I have to learn their language. It would be a challenge. But this is the United States of America. If you want to drive on our roads, especially in a big old huge truck, learn the language. Employment law. There are attorneys out there saying that it conflicts with employment law and that we're picking out certain races and certain people and saying that they can't drive. No, we're picking out people who can't speak English. You could be from Russia, from Mexico, from Zimbabwe, from any country and not be able to speak English. It ain't about where you're from. It's about the command of the English language. Do I expect you to have a command of the English language as well as I do? And I sometimes stumble. No, I don't. But I expect you to be able to read, write, and follow the darn signs on the highway so you don't kill anybody else. Texas, where am I from? You know that. Governor Abbott, zero tolerance. If you can't speak the language, you don't get to be on our roads. I don't care where you're from. If a DPS officer, that's Department of Public Safety, state trooper pulls you over for weights and measures for whatever reason, speeding, doing something wrong, and they see that you can't speak the English language, read and write, you're not proficient, sorry, Charlie, you're not driving in our state. We don't care if California or someplace else wants you to drive. You're not doing it here. Some states allow Spanish knowledge tests pre-enforcement. Again, this is nothing against Spanish-speaking people. It's not against people that speak any other language. I speak some Spanish. I have many friends that speak Spanish. I don't care. That's wonderful if you speak more than one language. All I'm saying, if you're going to drive an 18-wheeler, you need to speak English, write English, and read English. Support. Safety advocates love it. A good portion of the federal government loves it. I love it. I think the average citizen on the road driving a vehicle loves it. We're going to be safer. Okay. Some think it's discrimination. Kind of touched on that a little bit. It's not. The English proficiency requirement for commercial truck drivers, CDL licenses, 49 CFR 391.11B2, is non-discriminatory as it is justified by a clear business necessity, safety, allowing drivers to read road signs, communicate with law enforcement, and complete documentation per EEOC guidelines and legal analysis. Go back, rewind, listen to that again. It's not at all discriminatory. EEOC and Title VII presume English-only rules discriminatory unless proven necessary for safe, efficient operations. Did you get that? If you can't speak the language, read the language, or write the language, then you can't read the signs, you can't be proficient, you can't be safe. So it's not discriminatory. So stop saying it's discriminatory. I mean, that's real simple to figure that out. The FMCSA mandates carriers verify proficiency to avoid out-of-service violations. Enforcement should be there and in place. Now, those that are against it will say that the 2025 executive order targets federal safety non-blanket workforce bans. California FEHA allows narrow rules for safety policies and should limit required context. Critics like LULAC call it a smokescreen against immigrants. Okay, nobody that I know of in this country has a problem with legal immigrants. Am I wrong? I support legal immigrants completely. I don't support illegal aliens. So, LULAC, who's always seems to be going crazy, needs to back off because they're wrong. Noting CDL tests in other languages and weak crash causation data, correlation but not proof that people who don't speak English are causing accidents. Okay, LULAC. How many accidents have to occur because someone can't speak English before you're going to say it's a problem? One, and it's your family member that's murdered, that's killed, that's dead? I bet you'd have a different opinion, wouldn't you? So, LULAC, you need to rethink your position. Legal risk arise from overbroad employer policies. Because your employer requires you to speak in English, you're putting up too broad a policy. Wrong. not the federal rule. Tailored compliance, training, and documentation mitigates claims. It's just not fair. I don't care if you think it's fair. Learn the language before you get in an 18-wheeler and drive it. I guess today is more about politics and raising a little cane than some of my podcasts have been. It just seems like they just keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it out in front of me and us. And so I have to talk about it. How many of y'all have heard of James Talarico? He's a Democrat running for the Senate in the state of Texas. There's a lot of controversy about this man running for Senate. And it surrounds accusations, I didn't say he did it, accusations of racism, hypocritical billionaire funding, and polarizing past statements on race, gender, politics, which critics from both parties, again, the left and the right are together on this, which is good, have amplified to question his electability. So why is this guy running? It sounds to me like there's people on both sides that are against him trying to get elected into the Senate in the state of Texas. Talarico ran against Jasmine Crockett. If you don't know who Talarico is or Jasmine, bear with me at least. Don't run away and stop watching the show because I got another topic to talk about. Crockett was a representative in Texas. And she was running for Senate, and Talarico came into the race. And it's against Ken Paxton and John Cornyn, who are both Republicans. Crockett and Talarico are both Democrats. Cornyn happens to be the current senator that they're all running for in that particular race. Let's kind of break down some of the allegations, the accusations that are being made towards Talarico. Racism. A TikTok influencer, y'all can go check him out if you want, Morgan Thompson, accused Talarico of privately calling former Representative Colin Allred a mediocre black. I should say mediocre black man, while praising Crockett as a formidable and intelligent black woman. This took place at a rally, I think in Plano, Texas, is what they said. Talarico denied any racial intent, even though he was accused of it. And they said that they were mischaracterizing him. If you go look this guy up and listen to him talk a little bit, I don't think there's any mischaracterizations on this man. This guy's creepy, a freak, my opinion. Not stating a fact, it's my opinion. Allred responded after his racial statements. If you want to compliment a black woman, just do it. Don't do it while also tearing down a black man. That was a very strong and good statement. He was right. Talarico was trying to get some, he wanted to have support from Crockett with her going out of the race and not running against him. He wanted to get Crockett's votes. So he had to find a way to suck up to Crockett. Well, he did a terrible job of it because he really cut down Allred big time. Critics labeled it racism and establishment sabotage. So, and these critics are not necessarily just on the left. They're on the left and the right. Now, there's accusations of his hypocrisy about funding and money. Lone Star Rising PAC, linked to Talarico's friend, funded by Reid Hoffman and Stephen Mandel and Mark Heising, via dark money, spent millions on anti-Crockett ads during the election, during the primary, because they didn't want her to win. They wanted Talarico to win. So they spent millions on anti-Crockett ads, despite, here's the hypocrisy, Talarico's anti-billionaire rhetoric and anti-corruption pledges. So the guy is talking out of both sides of his mouth. Imagine that from a politician, left or right. It happens a lot. He accepted $54,500 from Texas Sands PAC. Miriam Adelson, who's a major Trump donor, pre-campaign, which clashed with his no corporate PAC claim during Crockett's debate. So when he was debating Crockett, he said, no funding from PACs. But he accepted it, over $54,000. How about some of his past controversial statements? He called concerns and has issues over biological males in girl sports and calls it a far-right conspiracy. I don't know what to say. In a 2021 interview, he voted against bans of that. And then he said, God is a non-binary. Well, I'm going to go on the theological side. I can go on the crazy side, because there's plenty of crazies out there, and I'll probably get blasted by a few of them, and I don't really care. But I'm going to go on the theological side because I'm a Christian, because I read the Bible, because I pray, because I believe in Jesus Christ, my Savior. Whether God is non-binary depends on how you look at it. The theological consensus is that God transcends gender categories entirely. Okay? Why? The Catholic Church states that God transcends the human distinction between the sexes. He is neither man nor woman. He is God. Because God is a pure spirit without a body, without biological sex, or physical markers associated with gender. Similarly, mainstream Christian theology holds that gender categories which apply to embodied beings, you and me, do not apply to an immaterial spiritual being. That is God. He cannot be non-binary because he is not like you and I. He is a spiritual being that is over all the world. Talarico, wrong again. He also praised trans children advocating at Capitol, an inspirational pushed DEI in schools, called radical white men as the top terror threat. Well, I'm a white man, and I'm not a terror threat. I don't have a bit of extremist radicalism in me. I don't have a bit of extremist Islam in me. I'm not a terrorist. And I take very big offense to you, Talarico, making a statement like that. You don't deserve to be elected to any party. He also assigned Obama's memoir to sixth graders back in 2012 and was accused of past tweets on white people spreading a virus of racism. That's the radical left. Just like the radical right. The radical right who's racist and KKK and lost their minds. Well, this is the radical left. He's crazy. Crazy. The Free Beacon, I'm sure y'all have all heard of them, portrayed Talarico as white mediocrity, prevailing via elite media bias against black and proud Crockett. Obama endorsed him as being terrific. Well, we kind of see where Obama is, I guess. I don't know. I don't like this man that I'm going to mention here at all, but it was in some of my notes, so I'm going to share it with you. Late night TV, Colbert, and press amplified scandals favoring Talarico, a racial polling splits. Black voters for Crockett, white Latino for Talarico. Talarino, I don't care what his name is. Some say it's inciting a possible self-sabotage for the Democrat Party in Texas. You know, I don't know. All of these have that's why I did this as a podcast subject, is because I figured it has garnered attention nationally because of how nuts this guy Talarico is. And it's mainly been the RNC and advocates, but the left has been, I just showed you a lot of stuff that the left is saying about him as well. Riley Gaines, who I respect greatly, she called him creepy and unelectable in Red, Texas. I hope she's right that he can't be elected. I agree with her that he's creepy. On to the last topic for today. I've discussed this already, but I'm going to revisit it because nothing's happened. And it really upsets me. The Save America Act failed to pass the Senate primary due to the 60-vote filibuster, and that's a big problem of it, and that's why Trump keeps trying to get rid of the filibuster, even though I don't agree with that. I think the filibuster is needed because it could cause too many problems. Again, you're going to say, oh, here he goes, attacking the left again. I'm just stating facts. Nobody on the left voted for the SAVE Act. They don't want it. At the same time, 4 Republicans jumped across the aisle and voted with the Democrats. So I don't have any more respect for them than I do for the Democrats that didn't vote for it, because none of them voted for it. It passed the House in February 2025 with only one Democrat supporting it. So see, the House, they did at least have one Democrat that supported it. And I've mentioned Henry Cuellar before. Then it went to the Senate, and no Democrats are going to support it. And Senator Murkowski, Mitch McConnell, Susan Collins, and Thorne Tillis voted against it. They didn't want it. Thorne Tillis thinks that it's not important to know. There's too much going on with the war in Iran and DHS and the lack of these people to get out of this temporary budget issue with DHS. The funding, the money's going to run out in May. And I agree, those are important issues. But the SAVE Act is very important too. And in my opinion, can be handled quite quickly and quite easily. Dare I say it's common sense? Extremely common sense. An amendment they tried to attach to the DHS reconciliation bill failed. Well, I disagree with trying to put anything into another bill. Y'all know where I stand. I don't like consolidated bills, omnibus bills. I want single subject bills. So I don't have a problem with that. But I do have a problem with the fact that they can't seem to get it passed. Now, there's a lot of misinformation out there. For one, there's this big claim that 21 million Americans lack documentation to vote if the Save America Act passes. That's very misleading. It's misinformation. Some would call it an out-and-out lie. It refers to the citizens without readily available proof of citizenship and not having all the documentation. I'm sure some of you will argue with me on this point, and that's okay. Just because they don't have it sitting there on their kitchen table doesn't mean they can't get it. Where does that 21 million figure come from? It's a number that comes from a Brennan Center study, estimating that 9% of voting age U.S. citizens, about 21.3 million, lack ready access to documents like passports or birth certificates. This includes 52% without a current unexpired passport, 11% without a birth certificate access. I don't understand that. Why you wouldn't have your birth certificate? Why you wouldn't travel with it? If you came from another country? I'm confused. I mean, I guess, God forbid, your house burned down and your birth certificate burned up. Okay. But, that would be one of the first things I'd get fixed. If I lost important documents, I would go get that taken care of. So it doesn't make sense to me. But maybe I'm just got more common sense than some people. I mean, I don't know. It also says that it would impact people of color and people who have married and changed their name. I don't know. I don't know. The Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, Save America Act, mandates documentary proof of U.S. citizenship. That's all we want. We want you to prove that you're a U.S. citizen. We don't want non-citizens voting. And if you're trying to tell me that non-citizens can't vote in this country, you've lost your ever-loving mind. You want me to prove it to you? Is that what you just said? We want you to have a passport, a birth certificate, naturalization papers for federal voter registration. Simple. Simple. You should be able to get that. There's no reason why you can't get that if you're here legally. Driver's licenses, which we all use for the most part now, and some other forms of ID, which I don't agree with, won't be enough. Why not? I got a driver's license, I can vote. Did you know that some states are giving away driver's licenses to illegal aliens? So that means they can go vote. Answer to your question. Prove it. That's not enough. It is not difficult. We all have a birth certificate. If you've lost it, If it's burned up or whatever, all you got to do is go back to the county, the state where you were born. Surely you know where that is. I mean, we all know where we were born. I don't think any of us were hatched or shot down here by aliens or something. I mean, come on. Let's get a brain, people. People that evidence against the claim, unable to vote. Most can obtain the documents, as I said, via vital records offices, but they face barriers like cost, time, travel, name mismatches, especially the mail online registration. Anything worth having in this life can be hard sometimes. I sure don't have what I have from resting on my laurels and just expecting other people to take care of me and do it for me. So let me get it out there. I had birth certificate issues in my life. Born in this country, but I had some birth certificate issues. And you know what? It took me several months to fix it, if not a year, and get it right. It was a hassle, but darn it, I wanted it fixed. It needed to be fixed. I didn't give up. I did it. Sure, I had to type several letters. I had to do several things, but I got my birth certificate problem fixed. So don't sit there and think that I don't know what I'm talking about. I got it taken care of. And it involved all kinds of things, but I got it done, okay? It's I don't get it. The filibuster, I'm going back to that. I don't like it sometimes. And it can be a problem, but I don't think it should be eliminated like Trump wants it eliminated. It would be bad. It would be bad for the country because whoever's in control could come in and just railroad things through. And I think we need to protect that. The filibuster needs to stay there. How do some of the other folks feel on the right and the left? Senator Mike Lee and John Kennedy pushed a talking filibuster, but it fizzled, mainly because of Thune, who is the majority leader, thinks that other things are more important, and they may be more important, but this is still important. On the Democrat side, opposition, all the Democrats blocked it. I think I mentioned that before. Why? All but 4 Republicans in the Senate were for it. All the Democrats in the House were against it except for 1. All the Republicans in the House were for it, and all the Republicans except for 4 in the Senate were for it. Why are the Democrats against it? Extreme voter suppression. Suppressing the vote. Wow. It would disenfranchise 21 million citizens. Well, I've already covered that. That's a bunch of malarkey. Go get your dang papers straightened out and go vote. There's no reason for anyone to be disenfranchised. Can't get the passport. Can't get the birth certificate. Give me a break. Does the federal government have to say they'll pay for it all for you? Well, they sure as heck aren't going to send you the money and expect you to go do it because you go spend it on other crap. Go do it. Maybe your church can help you. Maybe LULAC can help you. Maybe somebody else can help you if you don't have the few dollars that it costs to get your birth certificate. I'm sure there's organizations out there that would help you. There's plenty that want you to vote. So come on. They bus people to the voting polls. They do all kinds of things. Don't tell me that you can't get your birth certificate if it's lost or burned or something. Brennan Center, NAACP, LDF, League of Women Voters argued that it solves a non-problem. Not rare non-citizen voting. Rare? What the heck is even one non-citizen doing voting? This is what blows my mind about people in Congress or these organizations. Where's your common sense at? Nobody that's a non-citizen should be allowed to vote. But you people just, and what's rare mean? 1? 100? 1,000? 1 million? What? Come on. How many votes does it take sometimes to win an election? The votes, it can be very close. I've seen some very, very close races recently. Even in the presidential, where the states were just by small margins. I mean, I'm sorry. Get out of here. Proponents, Trump, the House GOP, framed it as an essential election security. Governor DeSantis in Florida has signed a state version, sparking many, many lawsuits. Imagine that. I wonder who's suing. I don't even have to look it up. Who's suing? Democrats. All these other Brennan, NAACP, League of Women Voters, LULAC. I mean, who are they? I don't know, but it's got to be people along those lines. So now the bill has stalled. The federal bill. Because of the Iran war, the DHS shutdown, the midterms are coming up. The war isn't over. I'll go back to the war. Thune says it's a low priority. Majority House Leader. So it's stalled as of April of 2026. Several lawmakers and analysts explicitly cite operational and democratic risk. The GOP defectors, who I mentioned earlier, Murkowski, McConnell, you need to get out of the Senate. You're too old. Susan Collins and Thorne Tillis voted against it, signaling concerns over the feasibility amid competing priorities like the DHS funding and FISA. You know what, Congress? You know what, Mr. Tillis? Get your rear end in there and get to work. Oh, is it too hard to do your job? Give me a break. We have too much to do. What do you think we Americans have? We have too much to do every day of our lives. We work. We get up early in the morning and go till late at night. My wife and I don't get to sit down every day at 6 o'clock, at 6:30 and have dinner. It may be 8 or 9 o'clock because we're working. We got things going on. Get in there, prioritize your schedules, manage your time, and get stuff done. Again, Congress just drives me nuts. They've almost always got an excuse for not doing their job. It's an exercise in a time-sucking exercise in futility. He wants to prioritize the Iran war and the shutdown risk over prolonged debate. I'm just tired. I'm tired of it. Then there's a claim that it could hurt Democrats in future elections. Why? Why would the SAVE Act harm Democrats in future elections? Alex Padilla, a Democrat out of California, led oppositions, warning it blocks eligible citizens. Says it's an implied persistent war on voting access. So anybody that has an issue with voting access is a Democrat? Why? Because they're maybe illegal? I mean, I'm trying to use a little of my common sense here. Why does it affect Democrats more than it affects Republicans? Come on. Please tell me. It makes no sense to me that it affects a Democrat more than a Republican, or a libertarian, an independent. Tell me why. I'm sorry. That's discrimination if you ask me. And you ought to be called out on that. And I just did, Mr. Padilla. You're full of it. John Cornyn countered and said, Democrats oppose it because they want votes from Biden-era immigrants, illegals, not immigrants, accusing them of enabling non-citizen voting for electoral gain. Going back to the driver's license, many states give driver's licenses to illegal aliens so they have some form of ID. They don't need a driver's license or some form of ID. They need to be kicked out of our country, period. But look at the difference. Padilla is saying Democrats would have problems accessing voting. John Cornyn says it's because they want non-citizens to vote, illegals to vote. I mean, to me, Padilla opened it up and said it. It's not, it doesn't take a rocket scientist. To me, it takes a little common sense. If this is the truth, which I feel it is, the reason it affects the Democrats is because they're trying to pull in all these illegal voters. We hear this garbage all the time. But you've just put it right out there in front of us, Padilla. You've made it very clear that that's what you're doing. We need to stand up, America. We need to tell these people they're crazy. We're done with it. We only want citizens voting. I mean, is it cheating? Is it cheating to have non-citizens voting and you want them on have the ability to vote? Is that cheating? Analysis at the end of the day. Disproportionate impact on first-time registrants, movers, low-income, rural voters, often Democrat-leaning, with 21 million lacking documents, potentially reducing turnout without addressing rare non-citizen voting. I think you're full of it. Trump, John Kennedy, other people on the right insist it only affects non-citizens because a non-citizen can't get the birth certificates and proof that they are American citizens. That's a non-citizen. If you're a citizen, you can get what you need and you can vote. That's just bull. It's crap. It's bull. I'm tired of the misinformation, the lies. The bill's failure stems from those cited concerns rather than proven partisan sabotage. No sources confirm an explicit admission for Democrats about electoral harm. I don't believe that. Democrats are harming it because they're not voting for it. They're saying it's going to hurt their voters because their voters can't get the documentation they need. That's bull. It's there. It may take a little work on your part, but you can get it. And I cannot believe that some of these organizations can't help you get your documentation. They can help you vote all these other ways. They can get you to the polling places. They can do everything. So don't tell me they can't assist you with getting what you need to vote. The Save America Act needs to be passed. You need to get on the phone. You need to call your congressman. You need to send letters. You need to send emails. You need to raise holy HELL and tell them to vote on this. Get it in place. That's the spice rack for today, which I would say was pretty nuclear, considering how red my face seemed to get while I was talking about some of these subjects. If you have a topic you want to maybe see if I'll discuss it, send it on over. We'll see if it's a good one. Maybe it'll be less nuclear than today was. I would appreciate it if you'd head over to Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, wherever you get your podcast from. Like me, follow me, subscribe, share, tell all your friends about Seasoned and Unfiltered. It's the only way we're going to keep growing, the only way we're going to keep coming at you and talking about real life and real topics in America today. Until then, stay seasoned, stay spicy, and keep it unfiltered. I'm Steve-O. Until next time.